All right, so we've come to the end of season 6 with episode 22, Biogenesis. Now, this is a 3-part episode that bleeds on in over to the episode 1 and 2 of season 7. But typically when we do these, we try to keep them all together in one, but when it's part of a different season, we do have to break them up. So the rest of the episodes will be covered in the next video. So let's just talk about the season finale here. I'm going to say this. This comes with these 3 episodes and then 2 episodes that happen later on in season 7. I can say at this point, because when we started talking about this show for the first few seasons, I had mentioned how the overall arching story of like Mulder and his sister and the aliens is my least favorite part of this show. It's gotten to a point now where I legitimately like do not like these episodes almost at all. Like I find the through line, like overarching narrative of the show to just genuinely be almost terrible at this point.
Yeah.
Like I think that the connections to things in the past, like they totally retcon, they totally like do away with or just ignore things, or
Yeah.
I'm just sick of it. I don't care anymore. Like I just love to see Mulder and Scully on an investigation of some random ass creature and him and her making snarky ass remarks towards one another, and for there to be like horror or comedy or both. That's when the show's at its best. All of these episodes where they're trying to connect things to things that had happened before and they're setting up this and that with the aliens and that, I don't care. And when we get to those later episodes I was referring to, in maybe like 10 episodes from now in season 7, when we finally kind of put the end on Mulder's sister's storyline, that might be one of the most unsatisfying conclusions
Oh,
to the,
yes.
because
Yeah.
like the whole point, we'll get there, but the whole point of this show, the
Right.
whole driving force behind Mulder doing what he does is finding his sister.
Yeah.
And I don't even believe for sure that will be the end of it.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm
don't.
so fucking over it. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I don't care about any of the alien stuff. All of this, like, I thought we were done with this stuff with the oil and all that. That is gone at the moment, purity and whatnot. But now we're dealing with like tablets, and Scully's going down to a different country, and she's like researching them, and
Yeah.
her faith is shaken. But then of course she goes straight back to the skeptic who doesn't believe in anything in season 7. It's just so fucking disjointed. It's like she got it through these episodes where we deal with the main storyline. They always bring her to the end or like the edge of her journey,
Yeah.
of like from the skeptic to the believer, and then they just completely do away with it in the Monster of the Week episodes that come after it. But then when we come back, they're to square one again,
Right.
and then they get her to the end, and then she's like, I don't know, or like, oh my god, because they outright say, I think it's in the next episode, her faith is like gone. It's like, I don't even know what to believe anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like totally bought into what Mulder's saying. And then we fast forward to like ex-cops, and she's like, Mulder, you're fucking embarrassing me. Like, this shit is not real. And it's like, oh my god, can this show pick a lane?
It's also a little annoying because I don't know how many times one of them can be in like a state where they're dying or the like some unknown ailment is killing them or whatever.
Whether it's Skinner or
Whether
Scully,
it's Skinner,
or
I mean,
Mulder,
most of the time it's Scully or Mulder, but then
Yeah.
we get Skinner in there occasionally too. I just think that it loses the impact. And I feel like it had to have felt the same for people that were watching the show like regularly, but I guess for people that like would just tune in here and there, they'd maybe be like, oh no, like this is happening. But especially watching it now as we have in like the sequential order and everything, it's so hard to be like, there's not going to be any consequences to this. They're going to figure out what's going on. They're going to save them.
There's no plan in place.
Yeah.
That is obvious.
Yeah.
They never had a plan for any of this stuff. And
Yeah.
when they do what they do, they have no plan in the future. So it's not like they ever got one, right? Like maybe they started and people were like, well, maybe they'll get a plan, because that can happen, right? You write the first season and you're like, we'll figure it out. We'll connect the threads eventually. But I don't think ever when they do this, it's always about pushing the envelope. It's always about like adding some new mystery or
Yeah.
some new conspiracy. That's always the fucking like attempt and the goal of every episode like that deals with the main storyline is always has to be some broader conspiracy that's a plot twist. And
Yeah.
it's like at some point it becomes too convoluted, it becomes too disconnected, it becomes too like retconned and everything feels disjointed, and it's like, okay, what are we doing now? How
Yeah.
many times did we deal with Samantha, with her clones and her the cigarette man bringing her to him? We'll get to it in the other episode, but it's just I'm so fucking tired of these episodes. I really These aren't fun to talk about. I do
Yeah.
not enjoy talking about these episodes. When we do these videos, it's the monster of the week episodes. I'm like, oh, having a good time. And when we get to
Sure.
these, I'm always just trying to bend over backwards to try to make sense of it, to
Yeah.
try to like go, okay, so the aliens, they have a there's a bounty hunter and there's a race that comes and is trying to protect, but they're also like disfigured, but their real faces are not disfigured, but then they can be humans too. So why do they have to disfigure themselves? Like I'm trying so hard. It's like I'm trying harder than the writers are. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't feel like because TV isn't what it is now, right? Nowadays there's so much focus on continuity. There's so much focus on the story, the plot. And back then, when this was happening, I don't think the writers really thought of it like we would binge it now.
Yeah.
It was that week to week format
Right.
of like, oh, we're just here to wow the audience where they get some new piece of information, but they're never going to like go back and watch it all again and think like how do these pieces connect.
Yeah.
And now that we have that mindset of like modern era TV shows and movies where we everything is got to be so connected.
Well, yeah, because like TV shows now are essentially just like extended
Big movies,
films.
yeah.
So there's more of that, like, we do want, the beginning and the end to connect and make sense, and like there has to be a clear arc. Whereas, yeah, like this is the era of sitcoms, and people definitely didn't approach television the same way. So, and I think that the X Files is a big example of that, because as much as I love the show overall, of course, I like you, like I don't enjoy these episodes, but yeah. Anyway, this is like the start of the arc where Mulder gets like he becomes like incapacitated
Yeah.
and can read minds.
Yeah. Becomes like that chess
Um,
kid.
yeah. And then Scully goes off to Africa,
I think that's what
somewhere
it
in
is.
like South Africa maybe. She goes somewhere in Africa and is like literally just like near a spaceship that's
Yeah.
like on the beach
Yeah. And she's
and is like studying this. I mean, that doesn't happen. I don't think that happens until maybe the end of this episode, if I remember. But because the beginning they're investigating like a piece of the
like a
of like it's supposed to,
tablet.
yeah, it's supposed to be like the Rosetta Stone or something
Yeah.
that they found. But like when Mulder comes into contact with it, it makes like he has like a crazy reaction to it.
Yeah. And it's revealed in here that the from what it seems that the aliens wrote the Bible,
Right.
and they basically are responsible
They
for
wrote like all
everything.
religion,
Yeah,
and
all life on
it's, I
earth,
mean,
and
yeah,
which
that's a very
it's a
common
common
like,
belief.
yeah, theory is that like gods are just aliens,
Yeah.
which I get.
Yeah. And we have Fowley and she's taking care of Mulder,
Ugh,
which
yeah.
is really off-putting and angering. She even like takes off her shirt and like goes into the room. So I don't know what the hell's going on in
Mm-hmm.
there. And
She's taking advantage of him.
Mulder's in a psych ward in this, which, you know, like that joke in the other episodes, like, you know, we all kind of knew I was going to end up here, but he's
Right, but
really
like
there.
he seriously is there.
Yeah. And you know, we get back to the code talker, which he dies eventually in the next episode or the episode after or some shit. I don't know,
Yeah, he
man.
dies after.
I I just I so don't
I
care
also
about these
feel like
episodes.
what they do with some of these alien episodes, which is also very of the time, like I think looking back on it with like 2024 lens, like it is sort of weird that they always make it about like natives and aliens. Not that I don't think that there should be like any inclusion of Native American like culture or beliefs in any, in this. Like I don't, it's not that. It's more that it just kind of feels like a shorthand to be like here's a I don't know what I'm trying to say, but do you know what I mean? Like it feels weird. It feels sort of like just like a card that they pull like and are
Mm,
like we're going to do the Native American alien thing again.
I think you're just being
Maybe
racist.
I'm not trying to be
Just
racist.
kidding. I get what you're saying. I don't really have much to say about this episode.
I
I
don't
mean,
either.
it's just I kind of said everything I wanted to say about it. I just
They're just
don't.
not fun to talk about
They're
in the
really
same way.
not because
And there's plenty of other serious monster of the week episodes. So it's not a matter of like, oh, the episodes that don't have humor are boring. Because that's not the case. I think that there's
no,
other episodes, like not all the monster of the weeks are funny and silly. Like some of
no,
them are
not at all.
scary and serious. And those
Home,
work, yeah.
yeah.
But it's just this like
It's
they
because
don't
like
have a
the
good
thing that's
plan.
fun to talk about when it comes to connected stories, like when we talk about from week to week, there's an attention to detail.
Right.
There's continuity. They, you know, some people think that they're not answering questions enough, but they're never like outright ignoring things they set up previously or set up a whole bunch of stuff and then just abandon plot lines. Like
Yeah.
they just don't do that, right? Like it's pretty rare I see that happening in shows now. It, you know, I do see it here and there, and they might be minor plot lines that they'll ignore. But this show, man, it's not fun to connect the dots anymore because it feels like wasted energy. It's
Mm-hmm.
like I'm trying to remember all the ins and outs, and you know, if you watch the channel, and we don't even talk about everything we watch. Like
Oh
there's
yeah.
tons of shit we watch. There's tons of shit I watch with my kids, with Kaylee, with myself that I don't even talk about on the channel. I mean, you know, I probably talk about 70% of what I watch on the channel, or maybe even less.
Mm.
Right. So like there's a fuck ton and I'm reading a ton of shit and I'm obviously I'm super into politics, so I'm always keeping that shit in my mind. Like I have to invest a lot of my brain power into remembering all the intricate little details of this show. And it's like season after season, there's no rewards for it. And
Yeah.
eventually I'm just kind of like, I don't give a fuck anymore. Like I don't care
Yeah.
with this stuff. Like
Yeah,
I
because we're
try
on
to connect it,
season.
and I'm not fully giving up on it. Like I still can connect the dots
Sure,
enough
and I do think that maybe
with
at
the
the end of the
theories.
show, I feel like in the later seasons, I have a feeling that they're gonna try harder in some of those like through lines
You mean with like the
with the
revived,
revived,
right?
and
Yeah,
then
because it's
also
more
just in the
modern.
later ones too. But yeah,
The dog it.
well, yeah, because aren't those like in the
I have a feeling
mid
that's gonna
to
go more
late 20?
monster of the week.
Yeah, we'll see. Definitely the revival. I mean, I did watch it when it came out, but I like for some
I
I
did too.
literally don't remember like anything except for like one or two episodes.
I watched season 10. I did not watch season 11
I
at
actually don't know
all.
if I watched season 11. I thought I did because I was really excited that it was coming back out.
I've seen not 1 second of season
I don't know.
11.
I'm very curious once we get there to see like how they handle everything.
Yeah.
Um
Anyway.
anyway. Yep.
All right. So we'll finish up, even though I feel like we're not selling anyone to come back for the next two
I
episodes because
know.
we're kind of dogging these out. You can just call me
Dog
Dog
it.
It because I'm gonna dog it. And this I dog it this show. No, I had it.
You
I
did
was
have it.
close there with the dog it. I'm gonna dog it. Yeah, it doesn't work. I just I said my piece on this. I Yeah, that's that. All right, we'll see you in the comments.
Bye.